Hello, I'm Sister Martina, and this is the third meeting of our series about the virtues. I would like to compare the virtues to a construction. Let's think that we have, or we wish to construct, to build a house. And of course, there are many phases to this project. And the first thing is to see before everything else if this is really possible. Why should I build? What size should it be? Do I have the money enough to finish it? Where should I build it? Who could help me? Who could I hire to do the work for me? What kind of material? And so on. And this thing we could compare to humility. As we said before, humility is the mother of all virtues. Humility is not saying that I am much less than I really am. No, this has nothing to do with humility. Humility is facing truth, facing reality, submitting myself to reality. Seeing what place do I have in this context. And so without humility, there can be no virtues. Where pride is, everything is already from the beginning, of course, unreal, and we cannot build anything. But then the first concrete phase of a construction is, of course, the foundation. Curiously enough, when the house is ready or when the building is ready, we don't see the foundation anymore. We just see the building. But if the foundation is not correctly done, we know that one day or another this building will collapse. And we could compare the foundation to the great virtue of justice. Justice is not everything. There are things that are more important than justice, like love, like mercy. But without justice, the thing will go crooked someday. And the old philosophers define justice as giving to each one that which belongs to him, which he has a right to. And this is, of course, a definition that comes from natural law, and it's very good. But faith refines this definition. If we stay on a mere ethical level, we could say justice is the old law of an eye for an eye. I mean, we have to pay for what we've done. We don't need to go into details. We have to be responsible for what we've done. And so if you kill my son, I will kill your son. And that's it. But we see through faith, and thank God our legal system in Europe and in the Americans is still, until today, deeply Christian. It's getting more and more secularized. And so new questions come for which no answer is found, exactly because in living Christianity, the legal system lives its philosophical base. But we see that faith brings to justice a refinement, a deepness that allow us to see things really as they are. Let's think, for example, of the image of the just man in the Bible, in the Jewish Christian tradition, also in the Muslim tradition, that has to do with this both. The just is a synonym for the saint. We say of St. Joseph that he was a just man, the Bible says, and that's everything. We don't need to say anything anymore. Being just means being a person of integrity, being a person of honesty, means a person that doesn't lie, that doesn't deceive, means a person that doesn't run away from difficult situations, means a person that is reliable. Doesn't mean a person that has no faults. It doesn't exist that. I mean, everybody has faults, everybody has limitations. But justice means having character. Exactly that, assuming what I do, saying the truth, not inventing complicated excuses, not being irresponsible, not being ungrateful, not being deceitful. A just person is someone, perhaps is not very intelligent, perhaps is not very able, Perhaps he doesn't have much knowledge. Perhaps he doesn't have much experience. But we know we can rely on this person, mostly in times of danger, in times of difficulties, because this person has this shining quality of being truthful, of putting truth and justice and goodness before his own wishes. And we see that very clearly in our daily life, so to say. So many times the beginning or the cause of our problems, even for example in marriage, even for example in family or in friendships, are little acts of injustice that we allow, that we practice, either that we do ourselves or that we somehow allow to go on. In this sense, faith helps us to see again the details. For example, we have with us a sick person, someone who is somehow bodily or in mind a bit needy. And the tendency we have sometimes is to ignore this person, to despise this person a little, to even mock this person. And justice in a Christian perspective says, on the contrary, this person is, because of its sickness, he has no guilt there. The one who needs more my love, my help, my attention, and so on. So many times, for example, a mother and a father will prefer one child to the other. And we all know that because as little children we can sense injustice already. And we all know how much this spoils the lives of children. One will be too spoiled and the other will need a love that he doesn't get from his parents. How many times little acts of injustice in marriage, for example, just not doing what we have to do, just not being grateful, just not being responsible, just not really doing what we know that marriage implies, makes such great problems that in the end we see so many times divorce and so on. Let's think also of greater things, I mean deeper things, more problematic things that we see nowadays in our society. Let's think about abortion, for example. Before every other consideration, before any religious consideration or social consideration, abortion is an enormous, incredible act of injustice. If in this context there is someone who is totally without guilt, this is the child who was conceived. The situation can be very hard. Of course it can. We all know it. And that's why we have to help people. But the solution of killing the child that has been conceived can never be just. And again, if you begin with that, then everything else will be somehow wrong as much as you try to do it good. And of course, then we invent all sorts of excuses. The fetus is not yet a person, which are, of course, totally irrational and totally unscientific. We all know that. What happens then? A miracle, and what was not a person then becomes a person when he was born. But it's not, of course, the time and place here to discuss that. But if we lose this perspective of faith, of Christian faith, of knowing that God created us and God is our Father, and that's why we are all equal, we actually don't find justice anymore, and we do terribly unjust things. We see that in history, in communism, in Nazism, for example, without thinking that there is a problem. We only see the consequences, of course, later on. So let's try, first of all, in a situation of crisis, in a situation of conflict, to be sincere, to go deeper in the situation, to be sincere with ourselves and to see, first of all, what is here unjust? Am I doing some unjust thing? Let's really see the condition, the reality of each person. Let's really see what this person has a right to. Also for myself, am I accepting unjust things? Should I accept them? What should I do? If we do that, so many things in life will automatically get cleared up, get better, get smoother, because injustice is something that hurts us to the deepest of our hearts. A little child sometimes weeps because of a little act of injustice from the parents. So let's ask God to help us to find again this shining virtue of justice, of doing things as they should be done, and not as we wish, not as we think, not as we sometimes, because of our selfishness, do them, but really giving to everybody what he or she has a right to be given, and also, of course, fighting for ourselves these things to which we have a right. God bless us all. Until next meeting.